Hey everybody, welcome back to Mom, I Left the Church. Today we are going to be talking about breaking the cycle, raising kids after Mormonism. We're just going to get into it. Parenting is already a mind fuck. Like, how are we supposed to keep these tiny humans alive, teach them how not to eat crayons, and somehow not repeat all of the generational trauma we got served with the side of funeral potatoes? But doing it after leaving a high demand religion, it hits so different because every single thing we do, every boundary, every holiday, every bedtime story, every answer to what happens when we die feels like an act of rebellion or like a high stakes movement we're going to ruin our kids forever. My son is 2.5, almost 3 years old very soon. And I often find myself thinking about what it's going to be like to have to answer those life questions. Where are we going when we die? Where is great grandma? you know, there's this internal guilt ghost that whispers, "You're doing it wrong. Your kids should be in primary. They're missing out. You're the reason you guys can't be together forever." But fuck that ghost. It's there, but sometimes it feels so loud because of my experience in the Mormon church. And I know that I'm not alone in this. When you've been raised to believe your entire worth comes from obedience and self sacrifice, it's wild to then raise a child with autonomy, with agency, with the option to say no. I was taught to say yes to everything: callings, fasting, modesty rules. Choose the right really meant choose what makes everyone else comfortable. So here I am raising a kid who gets to say no, who gets to feel their feelings, who gets to ask why. Do you know how hard it is when all you were taught was because I said so or because the prophet said so? There is no manual for this, especially when your Mormon parenting manual was burned in the fire of your faith crisis and now you're just kind of winging it. Let me share some real shit that nobody warns you about after having left the Mormon church and having a kid. You're going to hesitate before saying heaven because now you don't even know if you believe in it. Maybe you do. For me, I don't really have an answer for him, except for, well, everybody has their own ideas of what happens when we die, and it's your life to figure out if you want to, and if you do, what is it that you believe? I don't want to traumatize him with celestial kingdom fear, but I also don't want to be the buzzkill mom who says, "No, there's no heaven. It's not real." Leaving it up to him is really the best and healthy option. It is his life, and I'm there to give him those options. I didn't have those growing up, and I hate that I didn't. I hate that I only had one way of thinking what was right and what was wrong. You're going to second guess everything. Did I say that because it's actually what I believe, or because my Mormon mom voice is still trapped in my head like a, I don't know, E.F.Y. CD? You're going to feel so much rage when people from your old ward comment on your parenting like they're just so worried about your child's eternal welfare. Like, get the fuck out of here, Sister Jensen. He's 3. He's not apostatizing. What I'm not going to teach is that bodies are sinful. Teaching girls to cover their shoulders so boys don't get aroused, as if boys are just like these hormone loaded time bombs. Teaching kids that feelings of doubt are satanic, or that being gay means you'll be alone forever unless you marry somebody you're not attracted to. No, fuck that. My kid gets to grow up in a home where there are no shame based lessons passed off as righteousness. He gets to feel safe asking questions. He gets to hear, I don't know, when I really don't know certain things. I'm not going to come up with bullshit answers like, we'll know in the next life. And he sure as hell doesn't have to perform perfection in a goddamn button down shirt and a bow tie at age 5 to make my neighbors think I'm raising him right. And yet, I sometimes find myself thinking about what it was like sitting in Young Women's, imagining my future family, baptisms, watching my son go on a mission. That version was comforting to me at the time, but now that I'm out, it was all a lie. The real version, it's so much messier. And it can be lonelier sometimes, especially when your family still thinks you're leading your child away from God. When they send your kid a Book of Mormon in the mail for his birthday, right? Or make you feel guilty as a parent for not getting your baby blessed. Like, can I just get a regular book instead? Maybe Good Night Moon, not Good Night Eternal Damnation. But let me say this loud and clear for the people in the back. Leaving Mormonism made me a better parent. It would have done a big, big change for my parents if they would have taken a step back. My parents have 4 kids, and they only talk to one of them. And of course, it is the one that still goes to church. Isn't that interesting? Their relationship with their kids is so conditional. It's honestly disgusting. I will not be raising my kid to be a returned missionary or some wholesome human being. I'm going to be raising a kid who knows his worth. A kid who can say, I don't want to do that, or that doesn't feel right. And that isn't afraid of not really knowing really Big Daddy in the sky. That to me is freedom. And the little wins, they really are everything. If my son says, Mom, I'm sad, can you help me? Instead of stuffing it down like my parents did, I'm going to say, fuck yeah. What is it that you need, my sweet boy? If I see him wearing whatever he wants without shame, I'm cheering him on. He's not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. But we're going to go through this together. And that's what you have to do after leaving Mormonism and raising a kid. You have to rewire your parenting brain to be like, wait, this is their life and they get to choose because you didn't get to. So if you are out there raising kids post Mormonism, wondering if you're doing it right, you are not alone, and you probably are. It's weird, it's hard, it's freeing, it's awkward. It's honestly kind of holy in its own way. You might not be giving your kid a testimony, but you're giving them a life without spiritual blackmail. You're giving them honesty and space, wholeness. And to me, that's more sacred than anything. So here's to us, cycle breakers, truth tellers. We may be raising kids who don't have to heal from their childhoods. Isn't that nice? I love my son. I love watching him grow into his own little person. And that's what it's about. It's not about what we're going to wear to church on Sunday. It's not, wait till you're 12, you get to hold the priesthood and pass the sacrament. It's much more than that. It's preparing him for life, not to meet God. And you can teach your kids how to be loving, how to be kind, how to be honest without religion. I know many of my followers have religious beliefs. I'm all for it if it works for your family. For my husband and I, we will tell our son everybody has their own ideas. There are choices out there you get to make. You get to believe in whatever it is that you want. Here are your options, and have fun. I appreciate you listening today. If this episode made you feel seen, send this to another ex-Mormon parent. We can all feel validated all the time. Until then, do not let that guilt ghost whispering in your ear that you're not doing it right, that you should be taking them to primary. Don't let them win. I love you guys, and I fucking mean it. Have an amazing day.